Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more of the Korea-China Invitational League. Right now, this man, 815, our Korean pro gamer, is winning by quite a bit. He's up 4-1 in this 9-game series against ZhanHun here in the bottom left. If ZhanHun wants any chance of winning the series, he has to win this match. Even if he loses, though, of course, we played the entire 9 games. This is kind of an exhibition series. There is money on the line per map win, so the players should be trying their very best in each and every map. But yeah, so far a little bit tough, right, for ZhanHun. Now, to be fair, wow, that probe is being stupid. He looks like he's trying to correct it for some vertical mining there. But anyways, you know, so far there's been some good plays from ZhanHun. But he's getting caught a lot, I think, by 815's aggressive Zerglings. And I mean, these are Zerglings that can absolutely catch you. 815 has done pretty well in ASL. I mean, he's a well-known pro. He has been for a long time. He's definitely got his own very aggressive style. And yeah, we're going to see if he continues that. Like, is he going to keep on trying to Ling Bust? Well, not this game, because this is going to be a Forge expansion from ZhanHun. He gets over with this probe. He goes the back route. The reason why he goes this back route is to avoid this Overlord, right? This Overlord has a range where it might be as far over as here, or it might be as far down as here as it goes through the center. Different Zergs like to send it on different paths. But you go around a different way, and if you see the hatchery real quick, maybe you can do a cannon rush, something like that. He does go ahead with a pylon block. Now, there's no pool yet. Ooh, getting very low on this probe. Oh, my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's going to heal above 5 health, so he can take another hit. That's the nice thing about probes, right? Like, if you keep them away for a little bit, they do heal up, and you can kind of absorb a little bit more. But the pool finally goes down. This is going to allow ZhanHun to go Nexus first, which anytime you can do this as Protoss, it's a pretty big advantage. So definitely, as far as these openers go, with the pylon block as well as Nexus first, which is something you almost never see. Generally, you'll cancel this pylon, and sometimes Zerg will wait for that and then expand. So I think that's why ZhanHun maybe let it finish. But definitely, I look at this, and oh my god, he's going Gateway as well. ZhanHun getting as greedy as you really can in this matchup. He is, of course, going to get that Forge as well. But you know what? His timings on all this look accurate. I don't think that he's going to take any sort of damage. I don't think there's any possibility of 815 hurting him right now. Like, look, he only starts 1 pair of Zerglings. So that kind of shows you 815 knows that, like, well, this opening didn't go as well for me this time. He throws down his additional hatchery here to the side. You might look at that and say, oh my god, that is terrible mining. Why would you ever do that? But the thing is, you need the 3rd hatchery. You don't necessarily need the mineral patches right now. Honestly, like, you can just... Zerg goes very low on drones. You generally, in a lot of situations, just want 1 per patch. So he can just send more drones to his 3rd base location, and then he'll put his 4th hatchery right here after this pylon is cleared. So not a big deal, honestly. This is something that you can do as Zerg in StarCraft 1. Now back at home for ZhanHun. No Zealot as of yet, but a very fast cybernetic score. Kind of an interesting location there as well. It's out of the way, but it would block probes, I think, from doing anything here, from like getting out in this direction. Maybe there's a small hole there, and it might actually make this do horizontal mining where I'm not sure about that patch for Protoss. But there's actually I'm going to teach you guys something, because this is obviously, you know, we're in this early part of the game. There's like a layer on the way. There's the Stargate, whatever. There's no Zealots on the map. There's nothing really to talk about, but let me teach you a little bit for a moment here about mining in Brood War. So anytime a worker turns, like, look, that's horizontal, that's quicker. Okay, see this guy? Did you see how he came up and turned to give the minerals? Here, we're going to watch him. Watch. Goes up, turns. Okay, that slows you down a little bit, right? So anytime you can get horizontal or straight vertical, we'll see. Does he have vertical here? No, he doesn't. Like, for instance, SCVs can vertical mine right there. Where he places actually screws up that vertical mining. I believe probes can do it too. Just to put this out there, the Nexus, Command Center, and hatcheries are all different sizes, as are the workers. So they actually mine slightly differently. I know. It's insane. It's The economy in this game is pretty damn complex. Okay, it's pretty wild. But anytime you can place buildings to get things to do stuff like that, where they mine perfectly straight, it mines quicker, and over time that does make a huge difference. Anyways, enough of the nerdiness there. It is actually a beautiful thing about Brood War. Some people look at that and say, oh, that's broken, I don't want to learn that. But it's like, dude, the game's not going anywhere. It hasn't been changed in 24 years or so. Like, these are cool things that you get to learn, and they will enrich your life, trust me. Anyways, looking back at 815's base, I'm just doing a quick look here. See, there is that additional hatchery, Hydralisk Den, lair, no spire. Okay, so this is a build you can do. It's not as popular right now. Right now, it's much more popular to get spire and cause some confusion. Like, are you going to be making Mutalisks or not, right? And with the spire, basically, you get out for Scourge. It chases back the first couple Corsairs because they just can't beat Scourge early on. You need a bunch of Corsairs to do that. And then they don't really know if you're going for Mutas or not, right? So it kind of forces the Protoss in this weird position. Now, if you skip that and go directly into Hydras, it does have a few benefits, right? The Hydras obviously can protect Overlords too if you spread them correctly, but you get Overlord speed a lot quicker, as you can see here, which will allow you to basically dismantle any Dark Templars. It'll allow you also to put on more pressure earlier with the Hydralisks. Normally, you'll see Corsair production stop. And oh my god, I actually didn't notice this, guys. Double Stargate Corsair. So what he's scouting here, this is the best thing that we could see from 815 against the double Stargate Corsair. And obviously, like, 815 didn't know he would do that. Double Stargate Corsair is not a standard build. It's something you mix in from time to time. If you catch your opponent going Mutalisks with it, you oftentimes can just win. But anyways, here he is going to dive. He has a lot of Corsairs, and they're very clumped, these Overlords. I like this move a lot. This is going to be about as good as he can do because the Hydralisk count is starting to grow. So he doesn't really lose them, but kills off a few. Gets a big supply block, 51 to 37. Now, just to mention, right, the problem with this build is you're spending an extra 100 gas on the Stargate, and then you're also spending extra gas on additional Corsairs early on. So it generally slows down your storm timing. So what this is weak to is a pre-storm bust, right? Like, any time that they can mass up a bunch of Hydralisks, like not like a 3-hatch Hydra, but a 5 or 6-hatch Hydra, and attack you before you have Psystorm, like, I mean, you can just straight die if you don't have the right defense against that. So that's the thing that gets scary. That's why you don't see double Stargate Corsair builds too often. But it feels to me, I think ZhanHun has done this well. He only ended up making 6 Corsairs with it, so he figured out what was going on reasonably quickly. He did do a good supply block against 815 here. He's keeping some pressure on. Like, look, his Psystorm a third of the way done. He's going to have 3 High Templars pop, so they're going to basically have Psystorms ready when that Psystorm upgrade finishes. And he is trying to put some pressure on with these Zealots. These Zealots can't actually do anything. The ground force is so much stronger for 815, but 815, I think, hasn't hit the critical mass he wants as of yet. In fact, he's already getting the Lurker upgrade, right? So that tells me that he's not looking so much for a bust like I was talking about that this build can be weak to. Kind of interesting. We'll see. He is starting to move out with his Hydras, but this is not, it doesn't feel like he is trying to get a kill, right? Which is fine. You don't necessarily have to go for that. You can get yourself into a good position by doing things like continuing your tech forward with the Lurker upgrade, by getting your +1 and then +2 ranged attack upgrades, right? You don't have to go for the bust. He might go for a massive containment here. Also, there is a way that you can play where you take a 4th base. It's generally here on Eclipse, and then you have like a Lurker Hydra defense in these few areas, right? Where you can kind of rotate around and try to just stop everything and play on 4 bases. So anyways, there's some interesting strategic choices from both players this time, and we're actually getting into like a really proper macro game, which I like to see occasionally out of 815, you know? He's a little bit predictable sometimes in important matches. Like, of course, anyone that's a pro gamer can play a standard macro game. It's just 815 generally plays hyper aggressive. He generally goes for crazy all-in builds and things. And it obviously works out well for him, right? He's pretty accomplished. But to see him pull back and play this like pretty damn standard macro game, even when he maybe could have pulled like a mid-game very strong attack, instead he's going towards macro and towards getting a better late game. I really appreciate seeing that from him, basically. All right, we have a big group of speed lots in the top left corner. Not sure that he knows about this. This definitely can screw things up. Like, look, this many speed lots getting on these Hydras, they would beat these Hydras. Like, you're going to have to pull these back and utilize, you know, the hatcheries and stuff. So, see, he is going to force them back. The Corsairs could have come up at this time. They actually fly over the main rally, which is a little bit of a problem. And look at this. They utilize a lurker egg to block everything. In the meantime, setting up a lurker contain over here. Oh, ZhanHun, you've got to get that back. Okay. He saves it. Very important. That's a problem that we saw, you know, in the last few games. Like, if you get those High Templars picked off, it's a huge problem. Now, the Corsairs are doing some work on these Overlords. We'll see if he gets fly block. I don't think he will. He might get a couple more, but that's about it. And 815 just chilling with this containment. Now, we have 3 observers on the way. No observer upgrades yet. That is a little bit costly on just 2 gases. A very strong army is being made by ZhanHun. He has 4 High Templars, which is kind of what you're looking for. He's going to start knocking down buildings. He'll kill this cannon as well. You have to open up a path, basically, so that you can easily get your units out. If you're trying to go single file with goons, like, you won't be able to get out. It's just, it'll get too clunky, and as you're coming out single file, you'll get wrecked. Like, he might even want to clear these 3 buildings as well. I don't think he will, but, like, you need to basically perfectly engage this. This is one of the harder things to break out of, a Lurker Hydra contain. The observers come up. Notice how he has 2 spread, and they're pretty far back. This is going to be one of the most important micros, is keeping these alive, because the Hydras may dive forward to try to kill them. Now, the goons come forward, throws a storm down. Okay, he gets 2 storms. The storms do okay, but he does lose that High Templar. A little bit painful. Losing a few goons. This containment, man, that's hard to get out of. A lot of Hydras down here, and you can see 815 instantly catching up on supply. He does finally decide to take this out, right? And I think that is the right play. Like, again, you have to take this so seriously, because this can be game-ending just coming out of here cost inefficiently, right? Like, this stuff is clumped. You can kill this with storms. You can hit your storms right. You can micro your goons right. It's just very difficult to do. Now, here we go. He's going to try again. He brings up a single Zealot. Okay. Brings his goons. He's trying to keep those observers alive. Look, targets him. Target. Oh! He actually gets a storm down, and this second observer doesn't get targeted. Comes in with another group and targets, but look. Okay, cost efficiency starting to go towards ZhanHun a little bit there. Another storm goes down. His storms are awesome so far. Does he? Yeah, he has 2 more observers as well. He has a shuttle out there. Has nothing in it. It might tank some hits. I'm not sure why we have that there, but some great storms. Oh my God. Breaking out in a beautiful way here. But how much does he have left? There's still a lot of Hydras. Oh my God, 3 lurkers remain. They go forward. He does lose that last High Templar. He has to back up to his cannon. Oh man, we might actually see game here. It feels like he almost started to break out, but 815 just rallying down. Such a killer contain from him, showing he knows how to play that macro containment play against Protoss. ZhanHun with his double Stargate Corsair, maybe a little bit too slow on his tech, allowing that to come out. Unfortunate, but GG, 815 wins another one. So jumping into game number 7 now. ZhanHun on, well, beyond the ropes, truly. Going to go for a gateway expansion, as we just saw, as he scouts north here on Fighting Spirit. You know, it's rough, right? 815 has technically won the 9-game series. We do have a few games left here. I'm hoping ZhanHun can pull a few more wins. You know, that last game, when he saw it was going more towards macro, he took a gamble. And that happens sometimes, right? You're taking the gamble that he's going to go Spire. If he goes Spire, you're in a much better spot. And obviously with 815, it's a less common build what he did, but it's not really cheesy. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. You can totally choose to play as he played. And he just happened to catch 2 Stargate Corsair, which allowed him to get like that intense contain up before ZhanHun really had the units. He was a little bit slow on everything because of the Corsairs. And even though the Corsairs did a bit of damage, you know, they did do that pretty big supply block, which was impressive. You know, it didn't work out. So, you know, it's unfortunate. I wish that maybe he had done a more standard build and maybe we could have gotten into a more back and forth macro game. But we'll see what happens here, right? Fighting Spirit is a very, very different map. I think positionally this could be a little bit hard for ZhanHun. He is going for that gateway pressure, but I want to mention, right, there's this is a rotationally symmetric map. This is a very old map, Fighting Spirit. So there can be some issues, right? Zerg third base, very, very likely to be here. I mean, some Zergs would take it over in this top right natural, so they get a 4th base easy later. But this is going to be something that's hard to attack. The problem for ZhanHun, right? The 3rd base is pretty far away from him, so it's like, well, pressuring the natural is more easy. And, like, you can utilize, you know, if you just block this bridge, you can easily get up and defend there as well. Whereas ZhanHun's 3rd base location, just to zoom out a little bit, right? It's actually right here. So that's very close to attack. So getting this set up, he has to somehow control this area to prevent attacks here and here at the same time while setting it up. So that's tricky, right? Whereas, let's say the spots were reversed, like, he could control this area to basically stop counterattacks here. You'd have to go so far around to get it, right? Anyways, it's just some food for thought on what's going to be a little bit difficult for ZhanHun here. Maybe not the luckiest spawns for him, but, you know, he's going to know. Everyone's played Fighting Spirit a million times. It's like the oldest map that's still used. Honestly, it shouldn't be still used. I always have to use all of my soapboxes to say what a terrible map this is. It was really fun back in the day, but at this point, it's so imbalanced. It's insane. Oh, look at that. I haven't seen that hole yet. Oh, that's sick. That's so hard to kill a Zealot in there. My God. You're going to need to get Broodling on Queens to get rid of that Zealot. Crazy. Anyways, looking back at the main base, he's already got his Photon Cannon up. Looking over at, 815. He's going to be going for a 3-hatch Hydra Bust. Okay, so he's going to drone up a little bit here. And, yeah, we'll see if he's able to break him. Does ZhanHun get the information? These 4 Lings are waiting to make sure the Zealot doesn't get out to scout. But look at this. He's utilizing this path through his own 3rd base to skip being seen as much as he can. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Lings here to catch his Zealots. And that's some great micro from ZhanHun, honestly. That is some good micro right there. Keeping his Zealots really quite alive. He's avoiding a lot of Zergling attacks. It might be worthwhile to go up here and save this one. Yeah, I love it. Those come down to help out. They do pick off a single Zealot, but you know what? He gets this full health one out. So now he's got 4 Zealots on the map. Might be able to try to push again. It's important for 815 to keep him back with the Zerglings, because the second he sees a Hydra this early in the game, he'll explode cannons, right? And then the Hydra Bust just isn't going to work. Also, you'll notice that where he's putting the cannons isn't right against the wall. If it's right against the wall, the non-ranged Hydras that come down, because you start the bust with only speed, because it takes a while to get both upgrades, but the non-ranged Hydras have a hard time hitting these, right? You can't hit them with as much, whereas the cannons have better range. So a very, very good setup here. He sets up that second cannon. He sees a lot of Zerglings, so it has to be in his mind. He's like, well, maybe not as Speedling all in, because we'd have speed all in, but sometimes this does go into mass Hydras. So he is going to kill those all off with his Zealots. He's going to be able to go up the map. The first few Hydras are out. Now, there is a possibility, now that these have been scouted relatively early, like he doesn't have enough to really bust through. You'll see cannons go down. He should make minimum 2 more. I think he should make 3 more, but we'll see. But look, with these Hydras coming down, you could switch this up as 815. Sometimes 3-hatch Hydra players will go for the Hydras, and then, like, when they get scouted or whatever, make like 6 or 7, bust down the wall, force the cannons, and go into drones again. It looks here, we can see on the production tab there, that it is Hydras being made. He's getting the range upgrade, so it seems like he still wants to bust, but we'll see when he stops that Hydras production, because you can still kind of recover economically from here. So he's going to bust that down right away. The +1 probably not going to finish as range just finished. So that is going down. He's got to decide, does he want any more cannons? Okay, he throws down another. I think he needs one more, maybe. Yeah. So notice how he's adding them over time because he's figuring out that, like, oh, okay, this does look like this might be a really serious bust. He can't see these Hydras here, but he does see Hydras coming out with his Corsairs, which is an important scout, right? So that's why he pulled his probes up there for a moment. He just needs to make sure he has enough to keep these cannons warping in. Here we go. Goes forward with those Zealots. The Hydra's trying to bust through. They're killing the cannons so quickly, man. Oh, my God. 8-15. Going to pick up another victory, it looks like. Oof. Very, very rough game. That's going to be it. And that means 8-15 is going to be leading 6-1. Ouch. I mean, a good bust there from 8-15. I think he's really kind of flexed at this point, playing a lot of different games, not just those Zergling rushes we were seeing earlier, but a containment, a 3-hatch Hydra bust. You know, there's still a couple games left, so we'll see if ZhanHun ends up coming back and getting a couple more victories on the board, but obviously this one's over. GG.